Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now September 15th of 2023, and I think that we can all really agree here that Snow White 2024 is most likely going to be the worst Disney movie release in history, if not in a long time, given the fact of the irony about this. You know, if you go back to 1937, this was the first Disney movie that really kind of put them on their legs, the animated film, and 2024 may very well be the very film that really brings Disney down to its knees. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into what's going on with Peter Dinklage, Gal Gadot, as well as Rachel Zegler, and more related to Snow White. Now, we know that there's a lot of problematic situations arising out of this film, not just because of the Disney higher-ups and the damage control that's hitting an all-time low, but also over the fact of what's going on with many of the cast members, of course, like Gal, Rachel, and Andrew. Now, we know that Mark Webb, the director, he's fully engaged with the current re-edits of the film. He's essentially doing a lot of revisions to the plot, to how the movie flows from start to finish, and this is all, by the way, a demand by Disney. They wanted to shorten the running time. Initially, it was closer to 3 hours long in length, like around 2 hours and 48 or 49 minutes, give or take, excluding credits, mind you, and they wanted to really drastically shave that down. But this is where matters get even worse, and how it yet again involves Peter Dinklage. Now, with both Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler dealing with the Snow White damage control behind the scenes, one major development has to do with actor Peter Dinklage, and the drama that has been rattling throughout all of Hollywood behind the scenes. Not only is Peter very furious over what Disney is doing to the actors of the Seven Magical Creatures by restricting them from taking part in interviews in the future once the strikes end, but Peter also has serious problems with actress Gal Gadot for refusing to stand up for Rachel Zegler and to defend her from the growing backlash of Snow White. Both Peter and Rachel are reportedly very close friends now after filming the Hunger Games prequel that they both star in. Peter is said to be strongly defending Rachel behind the scenes and also has an issue with Gal, where she insisted director Mark Webb to focus more on her singing scenes than Rachel's for the final cut of the film. This was established, and this created a stir between both Gal and Rachel, and why they have reportedly not been in contact with each other and don't plan on doing any interviews together once the strikes end. Peter, who was shot down from one of the roles of the original Dwarfs before blasting Disney back in February of 2022, has been making the drama known through many of his Disney contacts that he worked with on Infinity War. Now, let me just stop here for one moment about this. Now, for those of you that did not know, we talked about this like 2 weeks ago, that, as it turns out, Peter Dinklage was going to be involved eventually in more Disney-related projects that he was fired and removed from because he raised his voice against Disney. He actually had a grudge with them because they shot him down from getting a role as one of the original takes on the Seven Dwarfs. So they were going to have Seven Dwarfs, but Disney still had their agenda in place. They were going to make them different ethnicities and different genders. Then everything changed once Peter Dinklage stirred up the drama after getting shot down for a role. Every Hollywood trade out there began to really turn on Disney. They started rolling with Peter's story. It really put a lot of pressure on Disney. That's when they caved and said, alright, we're going to be treating them differently with this movie, and they are going to range in different heights as well. That's when they were no longer the Seven Dwarfs. So this is where things get even worse. Alright, we know that Peter Dinklage is someone that has starred in Game of Thrones and has starred in other movies out there, either comedy or dramatic films. But we all know that Peter, right now, is getting his next big role in the Hunger Games. And this is exactly why I feel he's trying to stick up for Rachel Zegler. So, moving on forward, this is where matters get even more concerning. Alright, because we know that this is not only going to really dismantle any kind of future for Peter Dinklage and his career. Look, I will say this, I think that he is a great actor, but he really, as a person, is very much, you know, rough. He really does not know how to say things kindly. He's always very outspoken in a negative way, bashing people left and right, saying the wrong things, using a lot of profanity. This is just how he is, and I never really liked him lately, at least lately, as a person. As an actor, he does a great job in Game of Thrones. As an actor, he does a pretty solid job in Infinity War, but I just gotta level it out there that I'm really not a supporter of this guy, personally speaking. So, moving to the next big thing here is where matters get even worse. Now, I don't know why he's trying to defend Rachel Zegler through and through. I understand that they are and have become very close friends, almost like Matt Damon and, you know, Ben Affleck level, you know, almost like that. That's how close they are, reportedly, after the Hunger Games got shot. So, I would have no doubt in my mind that maybe Rachel is actually telling Peter to stand up for herself without her having to say a thing, and this is exactly why he's preparing those statements once the strikes come to a close. Moving onwards, this is where it gets even more serious, is that it seems Webb, the director of Snow White, was based, of course, within this drama and was biased with Gal and choosing her songs over Rachel Zegler's because of how closer he is with her. Now, this was Peter's issue with Gal. Both that and the fact that she did not defend Rachel or Snow White, of course, as a film, behind the scenes, and any recent support for the ongoing backlash from the general public. Peter is already desperately preparing direct statements to Disney once the strikes end. This has been discussed already with both his agent and his manager, and it's all coming together fast. Peter also has a major grudge against Disney for a strategy to hide the actors of the 7 magical creatures from appearing on late-night television in the future and other programming to promote the film. This is proof how bad the backlash has become for Snow White. And again, guys, I mean, this is very much apparent now how scared Disney really is about the 7 magical creatures. You know, the fact that we know that this movie has a lot of problems going into it about how these characters are portrayed. They want to hide the actors from appearing on all types of interviews and programming to lessen the amount of backlash. Because that's exactly why the actors of the magical creatures have also been very unhappy and angry with Disney. We talked about that about a month ago. This is the very exact reason why, and Peter has a problem with that. He also has a problem with the whole Gal situation as well. So again, once the strike ends, you're going to see Peter speaking out directly, and we're going to be covering every single bit about that. It's going to be glorious, and I think it's going to be something that a lot of people are really going to wake up and realize that Peter may very well not be the greatest person out there, even though he is a good actor, in my opinion. Like I said before, as a person, he's really not that great of a guy, at least as of late. That's just my take on things. So overall, I would really like to hear your opinion on all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, from night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.